Hi, welcome back to Situational Leadership. This is the start of Module 2, where we look at leadership styles. In the last module, we gave you an overview of what situational leadership was and its origins with its authors, Hershey and Blanchard. The activity that you finished up with, and I hope you got a chance to do it, was a leadership questionnaire, which is a way for you to sort of self reflect and kind of discover the leadership style that you're most comfortable with. In addition to that, we asked you to give that same questionnaire and have a friend of yours who knows you pretty well to fill that out about you. We also asked that you pick a colleague that doesn't know you quite as well. I mean, that could be a faculty staff member, it could be someone on your leadership team, but someone who has worked with you but not necessarily knows you to the depth of, say, a friend or a very close mentor. And what is hopefully going to happen is that you'll be able to look at the way you see yourself in terms of leadership, the way someone close to you sees you, and someone who's not as close but does work with you. Those three perceptions, hopefully, were somewhat in line and easy to digest. If they're not, then it's a good exercise for you to sort of try to figure out where the disconnects are, or what are some of the things that you think you're doing but are not perceived quite that way. Or simply say, okay, if I think I'm doing this, this is the way it is perceived. So therefore, by the way it's perceived, that's the way I should go forward. Anyway, the next section on leadership styles hopefully will bring that warm up exercise in what you're comfortable with as a way for you to explore and deepen your toolbox in terms of leadership styles. We'll be looking at the four traditional ones that are in Hershey and Blanchard. Those would be directing, coaching, participating, and delegating. And we'll also look at a little bit as what their connection is in real time, if you will, with school situations. When I went to college, I was fortunate enough to run cross country and track. One of the things that was really interesting, and if any of you have that in your background also, in terms of competing and being an athlete in high school and then being one on the college level, and that would be the same for music, theater, or whatever, it's a different ballgame, right? So you do this on the college level, there's an enhanced expectation of your commitment, your expertise, and what have you. And therefore, the leaders that you have, whether they're coach, directors, or whatever, um, don't approach it the same way you had in high school. And that can be kind of daunting, particularly for newbies, all right, first year ones. My coach here, Coach Bob Riley, Hall of Fame member of Siena College, way to go, Bob, um, had a famous saying that he used, and I say it's famous because it stuck with me. I have no idea. I have not tested the theory whether or not it was famous with everybody else. But he said, "I treat everyone the same by treating them differently." And I always thought that was a really cool thing, but I wasn't ever really sure that I fully understood what he was trying to communicate. Perhaps I was overthinking it, maybe I was underthinking it. But I certainly knew that in working with Coach, that the way he approached individuals on the team and the way he approached different groups on the team was never exactly the same, though we always had the same goals in mind. What he was incredibly good at was developing a keen competitive sense and what we needed to do to achieve goals that we had to get. In fact, I think Coach is probably the most competitive person I've ever met in my life, bar none. Anyway, so I want you to keep that in mind, that philosophy and that idea. And in a few moments, this video will end. And I want you to go to the next video, okay? Which is the myth of average. It's a TED Talk. And it's based on a study that the Air Force did after World War II. And I want you to think about the implications of the myth of average and the philosophy of my coach. And I want you to think about in 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 mulling that over, what are the implications of my coach's philosophy and the myth of average in terms of what you're doing in schools as leaders, as administrators. What are you doing in school in terms of teaching and learning? Okay? So I'm going to stop now, and please watch and enjoy The Myth of Average.